over the past 20 years, we have seen this one company produce extremely well whenever a hurricane has hit. And do you know what that company is? That company is Home Depot, and that is HD. So this started sparking my interest, and I started thinking to myself, HD, Home Depot, we can see that on this day today, we are getting a very nice pop. And I was asking myself, is today's pop a coincidence? Is today's nice climb of Home Depot being up almost 5% on the day one of its best moves in the last few months? Is this a coincidence that it's up today? Or is it because Hurricane Ian is about to hit Florida? Well, let's put the pieces together. What would be some reasons on why Home Depot would even spike up in the first place? Well, what does Home Depot sell? Home Depot is going to be a supplier of wood, is going to be a supplier of construction tools, is going to be a supplier of everything you need to, number one, bunk up for a hurricane, and also number two, rebuild after a hurricane. Here's a little fun fact for you guys. Over the past 5 years, hurricanes have led to over $742 billion in damages in Florida and again anywhere in the Gulf Coast, and are going to continue to run up that number. Home Depot is going to be one of the heaviest suppliers to be able to help prepare and also help fix and recover after hurricanes. So Home Depot does something actually very clever with, of course, hurricane destruction on how they can profit from it. Now, I do have to throw a disclaimer out while we go over this lesson, and this quick little disclaimer is, I don't want anyone to lose their home. I don't want anyone to say, hey, we're talking about, making money off of people's destructions, people losing their houses, people not having a place to live. That is not the point of this lesson. The point of this lesson is to be able to understand how Home Depot produces so well after a hurricane hits, and as an investor, how we can be able to make money off that. But do I want anyone to lose their home? Absolutely not. This is right from their website. This is their strategy, and this again comes right from their corporate HomeDepot.com. It says, what do they do before a hurricane strikes? Well, before a hurricane strikes, Home Depot starts with the supply chain and merchandising team. We have 4 distribution centers that support hurricane response. We monitor inventory and place orders early for emergency supplies, from water, saws to generator and gas cans. Next on up, we pre-stock stores and keep a number of trucks preloaded with supplies so we can quickly deliver to affected areas if a storm moves in fast. During a hurricane, depending on the situation, we activate disaster command centers in hurricane-prone areas. There we track the weather and ensure each store has what it needs, from supplies to extra associates. We make sure our team can get to and from work to help care of their customers. Then what they also do is they put trucks right outside the hurricane zone. So right when they're allowed back into those hurricane hit areas, they start bringing their trucks right on in. And moments after the hurricane has passed, communities start to pick up the pieces of disaster. Home Depot mobilizes emergency support to aid relief to recovering efforts. Our stores often serve as command centers for first responders. Team Depot volunteers arrive on the scene to ensure communities have all the supplies and resources they need to start rebuilding. So the thing is, at this time, Home Depot has this already laid out. They already know, hey, this is a big time for us. I'm sure Home Depot doesn't want to see anyone lose their home. But what they are going to do is when there are damages, they are already pre-prepared and set, sitting right outside the hurricane zone. And guess what? Right when they're allowed back on in, they're saying, who needs wood? Who needs supplies? Who needs a generator? Who needs saws? Who needs this? Who needs that? And as you can tell, profits are going to be rising from getting these cells from people who need these things. So Home Depot has been doing this for a very long time. This is actually an article all the way back from 2017. If I scroll all the way up right here, we can see this is September 13th in 2007, or September 13th in 2017, and it talks about how hurricanes react to different, or how Home Depot stock prices react to the hurricanes that hit on that year. August 24th, Harvey approaches Texas. We had the stock price at 148. By September 8th, the stock price was all the way up towards 159. And by September 12th, it was higher, up towards 159 as well. So throughout hurricane season, you can see we actually went on a $11 move. Hurricane stock price moved up 3.3%, past month 3.9%, and over the past year 24.6%. And that's again getting some of its biggest moves during hurricane season. We can also see during hurricane season, Home Depot stock during major storms. And this goes all the way back from 2004 all the way up to 2018. And we can see, let's just jump to some of these biggest ones. Sandy hits. Guess what happened to Home Depot's prices? Massive climbing. Harvey hits, goes on a massive spike. Irma and Maria goes on a massive spike. We see when we have hurricanes hit, even way back when it's not as big because Home Depot was more of a smaller company in the early 2000s, it still had very nice rises. But over the past 10 years now, whenever a large hurricane hits, guess what we see? Very nice moves, very nice climbs, and of course, a lot of profits that are coming into the company. So we can continue to go ahead and check this on out. And what else do we have over on display? It says Home Depot shares, which have fallen 36% this year, rose 2.4% on Wednesday, which is today, which has declined 25.7% in 2022, was up 2%. They were both outpacing the S&P 500 index, gain of 0.7%. However, BJ's, which has risen 13% on the year, was down 0.4%. So isn't that pretty wild to think about? Home Depot and Lowe's right now are both outpacing the S&P 500. And the reason why they're outpacing the S&P 500 and doing better than, again, the S&P 500 is because the disaster that is about to take place. And it is so wild when you think about it as we're just putting the pieces together. It makes sense. As an investor, as a business, it does come down to the old, again, simple fact of supply and demand. There's not really too much to, again, argue with it. When, again, someone has supplies and there's a demand for these supplies, you are going to see the company's value continue to move on up. And look what Home Depot is now doing as Hurricane Ian, what are we at right here? Hurricane Ian is now starting to hit landfall. So this just actually came out 38 minutes ago. It says Florida, Hurricane Ian near landfall to target. Hurricane Ian making landfall in Southwest Florida. Hurricane Ian is now again going upgraded to a Category 4. As an investor, traders are saying, hey, it's happening. As an investor, traders are now saying Category 4 hurricane, more damage, more profit for Home Depot. So HD right here, notice how it's going higher and higher and higher and higher. And we're seeing this continuously move itself on up. And the thing is, I don't want you just to think it's today. We have, again, the facts from previous hurricanes as well. Home Depot and Lowe's both gain after Hurricane Ida slams Louisiana. This was, again, last year, August 30th in 2021. So we could see shares of Home Depot are up 0.92% in pre-market, as again, Lowe's is up as well as traders are getting ready for Hurricane Ida. This is something that you can use for the rest of your investing career, that you can say from now on, whenever a hurricane hits or whenever you see a big hurricane, you can jump in early. You can jump in on Home Depot. You can jump in on Lowe's, and you can say to yourself, I know that I'm going to be able to make some sort of profit. We have the charts. We have the stats. We have all the articles right here of everyone basically going towards that Home Depot, hype. Even if you think, well, Deck, what if the storm dies off? What if, again, there's not that many damages? There will always be investors that know this little secret and they are going to buy in. And if I buy in and you buy in and he buys in and she buys in, Home Depot is going to rise nearly every single time a hurricane comes. Now, I'm not saying it's going to rise 40%. It's not going to be anything ridiculous, but imagine just getting free money. Imagine just saying, hey, big hurricane's coming. I know where to buy. All right, let's go over to Home Depot. And traders wait until it gets right next to the island, gets right next to, Florida. You can see that yesterday it wasn't really doing too much, but today, Hurricane Ian got upgraded to a Class 4 hurricane. Then again, it hit landfall in Florida. And so far on the day, HD is currently up 4.79%. Let's see how much volume is in on this stock at this time. So when we go ahead and we take a look over on HD, and we bring it on over on Yahoo Finance, what do we have? HD is currently up 4.8% on the day, which is one of its biggest days to date. Its average volume is 3.2 million shares. And right now, we still have another hour of the market being open, and we're at 3.79 million, which is above its average volume. Why would on this day we are above its average volume? Well, because we have more investors trading this play. It's outbeating the S&P 500 at this moment and having a better return than the S&P 500. This is where traders are looking. Now, we also need to think of something. There's obviously two scenarios that could be coming on up in the near future. What we're going to see is, in most cases, from the research that I have done, these moves aren't going to hold extremely long. We need to understand it's a mixture of, yes, supply and demand, but it's also a mixture of understanding the hype behind it. Home Depot is getting a very nice spike at this time. It's getting a very nice move at this time, but it's not going to be able to hold this in the long term, most likely. Today and tomorrow will probably be its best and biggest moves before it starts consolidating a little bit, before you may have a little bit of a dropping day. Do I think, again, Home Depot could be a great, let's say, monthly hold or maybe the end of the year hold? I think it does have a lot of potential. I mean, first things first, Home Depot came on down and hit a brand new 52-week low yesterday. It's low on the RSI. And now, again, getting this little bit of a pop from this hurricane is definitely bringing it back to life. I definitely think there is going to be potential in the future, but I do think right now would be kind of the main hype time. But we do also need to understand what could come up. There could be more hurricanes. We know, again, September and October and the beginning of November is going to be hurricane season. So the thing is, if this hurricane dies on off by tomorrow, guess what? The hurricane hype of Home Depot may start slowly fading. But what if all of a sudden in 2 weeks from now, in October, we have a brand new hurricane that comes on out? Guess what? Everyone's going to start jumping back in over on HD. So it's a very interesting thing to see. And we can also take a look at the past chart history pattern. Let's see if we take a look at last year, okay? Let's just do a little experiment right now. If we take a look at last year, did HD or Home Depot have some of its best running because we were in hurricane season? So obviously we can look at the bottom of the chart right here and we can see 9. And what we usually see is 9, 10, and 11, or as we know, September, October, and November are hurricane season. So if we scroll on back, we have 9, 10, and 11. Hurricane season, hurricane season, hurricane season. Charts don't lie. Charts don't lie here. It's wild to think about how supply and demand works. When people are in need, they are going to be there to be able to help them and help them be able to recover. But also it does help their business as well. Home Depot, Lowe's, these are going to be hurricane stocks. As big as the hurricanes get, the bigger the move you will see on the chart. Going into today, this is the first big hurricane of 2022. And as you can see, Home Depot is already starting on up. Make sure you guys take this advice. Make sure, again, you guys take this and bring it over to your trading. Absolutely crush it. You guys got it. All right, team.